Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to create a simple application in Android Studio. The application will be able to send SMS from our mobile phone to other users, whereby we are going to input the person phone number, and in the other input we are going to write some messages and send to the user, and the user will be able to receive it. It's just like a normal SMS application. So let's get started. Alright, so we are going to create a new project. Using an empty activity. Name your project. So you click on finish. After your application has finished building, you just wait a while for it to finish building. The first thing we are going to do is this. We are going to create our XML file. So go to your XML file, split it into code and design. We're going to use a linear layout to make it simple, to make it beginner friendly. So we are going to create our, before we create, let's set the orientation to be vertical. Orientation vertical. So we are going to create the first edit text. The first edit text will be the edit text for phone number inputs. You set the int. Set the input type. I set margin top as such so that it will be able to move away from the top. You set your ID. So the next thing we are going to do, we'll copy it, just duplicate it, so that we'll set the other input as the input whereby the user will be able to enter the message. Remember, the first one is for phone number, the second will be the input for user to be able to enter the message, to write some messages. When we are done setting these two inputs, we are going to create the button. The button whereby the user, let's just finish with this second input. The design may not be so good, but at least is the function that matters a lot. I'm trying to expand it so that we can see it properly, we can see our code. So you set your button, set it match parent wrap content. We're going to give it a text of send. After the user finish entering his phone number, the message, just click on the send button and the message will be sent to the other user. I just want to set the background. I just decide that my background, I like black background. Set it the text send. A little design is okay. You don't need to design too much. In this, just a simple project, because it's very important for us to know some of these things on how Google designs all these things. So you can see the way I just set the padding. It's little bit okay. Sorry for that mistake. Make a mistake there. Correct it. Really making mistakes, sorry for that. All this input type supposed to be in the message input, so that I'll be able to expand it. It will be like a text area whenever, such as you see on the website. So you set it to 100 dp. Still making that mistake, sorry. I go back and let's put it in order. We'll set the margin bottom to 10 dp so that to be able to shift away from the button. All right, so just I think is okay, it's better. Function is function that matters a lot. Design doesn't mean a lot for now. When we design better application, we'll create the user input very well. So you cross check your code, you go back to the Java code. On the Java file is where we are going to do write our function. So in this case, we are just importing the package. The package for the edit text, we set variable for the phone number and the box input, and variable for the button. All these variables enable us to be able to reference them, to reference the things that are in XML file. So we'll keep them as private. We're only concerned using it. We're only having just one class in this project. So the next thing is to reference our button from the XML file. So from your variable, you reference your button for the phone number and the edit text. The edit text phone number, the edit text input, and also you reference it for the button. So let's keep referencing everything. We reference everything. All right, getting better. Yeah. So when you are referencing it, is by the ID which we have given it. We have given our inputs from the XML file, so we just reference them here. So the next thing we'll set on click listener to the button, so that the button, whenever a user click on the button, it will be able to get the inputs. It's on the button that we are going to write our function. But before then, we're going to write a method. Is this method that will be able to, we're going to write things into this method. This method will be stored in this button, so that when a user click on the button, it will just trigger the method, which is also known as the function. So in this method, we're going to write all our function. So I'm trying to get the input from the user. How do I get the input? As I set the string, the string that I set, I set a variable there. The variable is going to, that line of, or these two lines of code that I'm writing is to get input from the user, the phone number and the messages. So when it gets the phone number and the messages, it will convert it to string before it will be used to perform function. So the next thing is to write the function which will enable SMS to be sent to another SIM. So that's why we are writing this function. The SMS manager is a function which will be able to enable us to send message. So we did here is that we call the SMS package, the SMS manager package, the first string, then we call the SMS manager package, and we use the object to get the text from the user and the input whereby the user enter. Then it will now be able to perform the function of sending SMS to the user. So after then, we are going to set a toast message. If the function perform is correct, a message will be sent. So you can see the way we wrote the function. All these two lines of code below that we just wrote is to enable the user to be able to send the message, but these two lines of code above is to get the input from the user. So if everything is correct, it's going to give us a toast that message sent. So let's write that. But there's one thing that we need to do. We need to set a try catch block. The try catch block enable us if there is error in our function. The first in the try, if it is successful, in the catch block, if fail, it should be able to give us a toast message that the function that maybe what we did is incorrect or a message fail. So we just write that information. All this toast is to inform the user the situation. If the user encountered that a sent message and the message wasn't delivered to the user. So cross check everything to see if everything we did is in order. So cross check. Yeah, they are all in order. You can still cross check because any little mistake in Android development result to error. You might be wondering if there's another if there's another thing that is causing it that is beyond the natural eye. You might not know that is a little mistake that you just made. All right, everything is okay. So what we are going to do, we are going to set a permission. We're going to use permission. Google has given us instruction to Google has instructed programmers that when you are doing some things, you inform the user what you are trying to do. Let it not be as if you are taking advantage of somebody's mistake. If the user mistakenly try to send an incorrect message, you need to ask the user permission. If the user allow, then message to be sent. If not, message shouldn't be sent. So the line of code that we are writing is to request for permission. I may not break it totally as it's supposed to be, but just know that everything that we are trying to write now is to request permission from the user. So let's continue. The first if is to check the SDK version that we are using. If the SDK version is greater than or equal to, because the minimum SDK version is 23 for permission. You cannot use below 23. That's why I wrote the lines of code. If SDK number is greater than or equal to. So the one I'm using currently is 21 version, minimum of 21, while 23 is needed. So the first if will enable me to overcome that. So as it is correct and as I check the SDK version is okay, permission will be requested. So we'll take the method. I just took the method and insert there. So the function will now be carried out. So that's why I took the method and insert it into the if else statement. If the user refuses, else permission should not be granted. So at this point, everything is okay. Let's just finish it, the line of code. So everything you are seeing is not that difficult. This is the way an SMS application is being written. Although the one you are using, there are many designs, but this is the main function of it. So let's run our app and see our work. So let's just wait for the emulator to come up. All right. There's something we forgot. To let's go to our manifest folder and request for permission. In anything you do, some things you do, you must set a permission on your Android Studio, so it's now that it will be able to work. So let's run our app again. If there is any problem, if there is no problem, so the next thing we are going to do is to test our work. So let's test our work.